When I was a little girl, we lived in Dallas, and the streetcar ran up and down in front of our house. Well, all of us kids, if we were out playing, and the streetcar came by, we would run out and we would wave at the conductor, and he would wave back at us. Now, sometimes if it was hot, he would stop the streetcar, get out, and come over into our front yard, pick up the water hose, and get him a drink. We knew all the conductors' names, and we waved at them all the time. Well, one Christmas Eve, I'd gone to bed. You have to go to bed early on Christmas Eve. And I was in my bed. My room was at the front of the house, and I was about asleep when I heard all this noise, clang, 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 clang. And I looked out, and there was a streetcar out front, and it was ringing its bell, clang, 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 clang. And I looked, and it was full of kids. And the conductor was standing outside, and he said, "Come on, Traphene, if you're going to go with us, come on." Well, my mother and Daddy had rushed to the front porch with me, and I looked up at my mother and Daddy, and they said, "Go on, sis." So I went and I got on that streetcar. I didn't know where it was going. Well, it went to the end of the track, which was not just a couple of blocks from my house, but it didn't stop. It just kept going, and it kept going. And it went on out of town. It went on to the mountains. It went up real tall mountains, and it came to a village. Cutest little village you have ever seen. It was a little town square. Cedar Hill doesn't have quite a square of business around the city hall, but this had businesses all around, and they were cute. They were cute. And there was a sleigh out there with 8 reindeers attached to it. Well, we had gotten out of our streetcar and had all walked up there, and I was right at the sleigh, and I looked up, and here came Santa Claus out of that door, and he climbed into the sleigh, and he was right above me. And he looked down at me, and he said, "This is the child I pick." Me? And they picked me up and put me up on Santa Claus's lap. I was so excited. I sat there and I looked up at him. Oh, he had the sweetest face you've ever seen, and his eyes were so cheerful. And he said, "Little girl, you have been selected to have the first gift of Christmas. The first gift that I'm going to give to a child this year. What would you like?" I didn't know what I wanted. I had no idea. He said, "Hurry, hurry, it's time to go." Well, the reindeer were dancing up and down, and their bells were going ring, 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 ring. And I said, "I want one of those." And he reached up and he picked a bell off the tree, and he handed it to me. I put it in my pajama pockets, and they lifted me and put me down. And when they did, we went back to the streetcar and started home. We went down that mountains, and I really went to sleep before we got home. I didn't know anything till the next morning. My mother was hollering, "Sis, it's time to get up." I opened my eyes and looked at her. Oh my goodness, I'm in bed. And I remembered what had happened last night. I reached in my pocket for my bell, and there was a hole in my pocket, and there was no bell there. Did I dream that? Did that really happen? Well, we all went into the living room and we opened our presents, and I just couldn't get that out of my mind. I kept thinking about it, but I guess it didn't happen. Well, it was time to go to breakfast and everyone else went in, but I was just sitting there at the tree thinking about that. When my mother came out and she said, "Well, sis, aren't you going to open your last present?" I looked up and there was one more present on the tree. I took it. And it was a bell.